Welcome to Impact Network's news. This is Carol Angela Davis, and I want to begin with a story about your children, folks, because I'd like to know why Republicans are working so hard to relax child labor protection laws, child labor regulations. Folks, so far, 10 states, folks, have rolled back child labor laws. There is a federal bill to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to work in the logging industry. People, let me tell you, the logging industry is one of the most dangerous industries that anyone can work on. It consistently has the highest workplace fatality rate in the nation, and they want to let the kids work there. Now Republicans are trying to expand work hours for minors. They're trying to expand the industries that minors are allowed to work in. They're trying to reduce enforcement and to legislate sub-minimum wages for our children, not for theirs. Their kids don't work in the child. They got money. They don't need the kids to work like that. This for people who need their kids to work like that. They're going to make sure they work hard and they work cheap, okay? This is child labor violations in the U.S. have soared, folks. The number of children employed in violation of child labor laws, it has increased by 37%. Folks, that's just in the last year. And by 283% since 2015. That is according to the Economic Policy Institute. You should know that the following states have passed laws to roll back child labor laws. They are, of course, we start with Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, also Iowa, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and Missouri, folks. You should know that legislation to relax child labor laws has been introduced in Minnesota, also in Missouri, Nebraska, Ohio, and South Dakota. Democrats are pushing back. They have proposed several federal bills to do just that. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and the Department of Health and Human Services have also proposed policies that would strengthen the enforcement of child labor violations and would also increase monetary penalties for minors. Why? Why would you do that to children? Well, here's the answer. If you don't give a darn whether or not your kids go to school every day and get cut down by a mass murderer with a AK-47, pulverized to the point that nobody can even identify you, if you don't care about that, why would you care about child labor? Their attitude is these children are expendable. Use them. If they die, they die. If they live, they live. If they get maimed, they get maimed. That is the attitude of the Republicans. They must go. They have no empathy, no humanity, and they only care about power and money, and that is not acceptable. Thank you for staying with us for your news from around the neighborhood and around the world. Okay, I am Carol Angela Davis. We're going to start with news that's going on and being reported in the hip-hop community, starting with the Reverend Al Sharpton. He is demanding that McDonald's address alleged racial discrimination, and he has sent a letter to McDonald's chief executive officer demanding that he do just that. Sharpton says there are lawsuits brought by black franchises and by a black former executive over racial discrimination. One lawsuit apparently is calling on the CEO and saying that the racial discrimination came from the CEO himself. Sharpton also referenced Byron Allen's multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against the fast food chain. That's a $10 billion lawsuit that alleges that McDonald's spent $1.6 billion on television advertising in the U.S. in 2019, but only $5 million, on advertising with black-owned media companies, which tells you all you need to know about McDonald's. Move on with Whataburger, whatever you're going to do. Move on. McDonald's is taking the money, our money, and not using it to help anybody but others, some of which we know are headed to the Proud Boys meeting to try to overthrow the government and be discriminatory towards African Americans. So they need to stop. Let's look at sports. Olympic long jumper, 23-year-old Tara Davis Woodall. She's now stripped of her national title. That's the one she earned at the 2023 USA Track and Field Championships. Now, it's all reportedly due to a positive cannabis test. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency announced the decision, and it follows a 1-month suspension. Or let's go to Texas, where Texas is doing what it does, gutting what they call woke civics, which is what everybody else calls history and democracy and government in action. All class assignments now involving direct communication between students and their federal, state, or local officials are outlawed. Oh, yes, okay? Students are now banned from advocating for anything like a stop sign in front of the school. And what kinds of projects did students lobby for? Well, of course, They lobbied and contacted their local representatives for anti-bullying campaigns. Also, youth vaping, movie nights in the park, or bringing back student newspapers. Now, critics call it an effort to tamp down the next generation of leaders. Now, we also know that if the young people are advocating against these guns, so they're trying to stop that. One critic added, it feels like we're going backwards in time, with yet another saying it's going to really damage their idea of what democracy is, which of course is the point in Texas, because the kids are sick and tired of being shot at just because they went to school. Let's take a look at our microplastics. They're already in our blood, our breast milk, and our placentas, and now they may be in our brains. And when you look at some of this acted out behavior, you do have to wonder why people are doing the things they're doing. The particles could be linked to cognitive impairment and neurodegenerative diseases. We're talking Alzheimer's, we're talking Parkinson's, not to mention psychosis, okay? All these guns, senseless gun deaths. Somebody says, I don't know what happened. He was such a nice person. He went in there and shot up all those people. Okay, think about it. It doesn't come from nowhere. All right? Now, the psychosis can lead to all kinds of senseless acts. Now, the researchers say microplastics in our brain can lead to altered neurotransmitter levels that can contribute to behavioral changes. 75% of people globally do support banning single-use plastics. More than 100 countries have a full or partial ban on single-use plastic bags. Moving on to California, moving to phase out diesel-powered trucks and cut locomotive pollution. Now, all medium and heavy-duty vehicles that are sold in the state in 2036, they must be zero emission. And the California Air Resources Board has adopted reduced emission regulations for locomotives. Those rules also require transitioning existing fleets to zero emission vehicles. Folks, trucks represent 6% of vehicles on California's roads, but they account for over 35% of the state's transportation generated nitrous oxide emissions and 25% of on-road greenhouse gas emissions. All right, moving on. What if you could, this is some excellent news in healthcare. What if you could ingest a sensor, okay, and then you could tell if you had any gastrointestinal issues? That's right, folks. That's what they're working on, those engineers at MIT and Caltech. They say they have created a pill-sized device to do this. The new wireless device does allow physicians to pinpoint the problem area without any invasive procedures. It's being tested on animals right now. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, well, it says that those kind of digestive diseases, they affect around 60 to 70 million people and cause about 48 million trips to the hospital every year. And what about this discovery? An AI tool to help visually impaired people. There's an app out there called Be My Eyes. It was founded by a Danish furniture craftsman who himself is visually impaired. It has a network of more than 6 million volunteers. They serve as the eyes of someone else in video calls for blind and low vision users who need help with their everyday tasks, folks, okay? And we're talking catching a train, just stuff like that. Well, now the AI component means visually impaired people will be able to ask the app what ingredients are in my fridge, and the app will tell them. That's when AI is used responsibly. The World Health Organization estimates there are 2.2 billion people worldwide who are visually impaired. All right, let's move on to the hate crimes. We want you to know there has been an arrest made in those Minneapolis mosque fires. 36-year-old Jackie Rom Little, charged with second-degree arson. Of course, the Minneapolis police are calling the fires an attempt to inflict terror into the Muslim community. The Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations is praising the arrest. One of those fires was set at the Mercy Islamic Center. Another was set at the mosque in the 24th Somali Mall. Let's take a look at the diaspora from Zimbabwe, where they are introducing a digital currency backed by gold. It's an effort to shore up the Zimbabwe dollar, and it's going to start being used this month in May. We should also tell you that the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Nigeria have already launched digital currencies backed by their central banks. China is looking into it. The UK is looking into it. The US and the European Union are considering similar moves. More than 80% of the world's central banks are considering issuing digital currencies or have already done so. And from Haiti, okay, residents there reportedly killed and set fire, folks, to 13 gang members amid ongoing violence. Residents of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, apparently There's so much gang violence there that it has now gone into vigilante justice. The mob took the suspected criminals from the police, yes, from police custody to deliver justice themselves. And you'll remember that the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise, was assassinated. You remember that? That happened in 2021. His wife was also shot. She survived. 1 month later, Haiti got that big 7.2 earthquake. And after that, Haitian migrants started getting out of Haiti as fast as they could. Today, gangs have taken over at least 60% of the city. And then finally today, some Caribbean leaders are agreeing on a plan to ban assault-style weapons. Thank you. Somebody has some sense. These weapons are mostly manufactured, of course, in the United States. The ban introduced by CARICOM is going to include changes in licensing regulations. We should tell you Jamaica, Trinidad, the Bahamas, St. Lucia, and Barbados, all of them have complained about an increase in gun murders in recent years. Several Caribbean nations have also announced plans to join with Mexico to sue American gun manufacturers over the weapons smuggled into their countries. We hope they do, because America isn't doing anything about it, so we need everybody else to come and do something about it. Those are your stories. Stay with me. The slave word of the week this week, it's a doozy. Okay, here it is. Quackaversal. Yeah, wait to hear what it means. Quackaversal, I'm going to spell it for you. Quackaversal. Quackaversal, folks, that's an adjective. That means it modifies or describes that noun, folks. The definition is going off in all directions from the center. Oh, yes, folks. And here are some sample sentences. Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, that's right, folks, is going at the Donald Trump case in a quackaversal manner. Smith is hitting Trump from all sides, and he's got so many misdeeds that it's actually quite easy, okay? Second sentence. I designed a quackaversal pattern for the macrame wall hanging. Quackaversal, that is your slay word of the week. It means going in all directions from the center. Use it all week and level up your vocab.
Anyone who thinks that slavery ended in the 1860s with the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation are grievously wrong.
If we caught a bird, we ate little feathers and ate the bird. We didn't have nothing to cook on. We didn't have no stove.
You know who you are and who we are.
We're still on that big plantation.
She was bonded to them until they died. She was their slave.
They said, well, we're going to be killed tonight.
Could that same white dude keep terrorists there? Or Russian spies? Or the KGB? And the government wouldn't know it? No.
They thought I was beat so bad that I couldn't do nothing, but I did.
Folks, we're always looking for our African American girls, and we kind of continue to highlight missing girls. Here's our feature of the week. We hope you'll help us find her. Have you seen 15-year-old Anaya Gayton? She's been missing since February this year from Dallas, Texas. That's Anaya Gayton. She's 15 years old. She's been missing since February of this year from Dallas, Texas. Anyone having any information, please contact McKinney Police Department, and their phone number is 972-547-2700. Thank you for staying with us. As you know, we are searching for our missing girls. We do need your help to make sure we find them and get them back home. We're back with your international report. Welcome, Edie.
Thank you, Carol. How are you today?
I'm good. Always interested in knowing what's going on around the world.
Well, you know, it seems like I'm stuck on two themes, climate change and Haiti, because of course I look at the Caribbean because that's where a lot of our audience share is. And why I always look at Haiti is because Haiti was one of the first countries that ever escaped slavery. And for that, they have been punished to this day. Well, what has happened is the UN Special Envoy to Haiti has sounded the alarm. And she has been sounding the alarm for a number of months now over the criminal gangs. And what she's asking for is for an international stabilization force to come into the country to look at not only the criminal situation, but also training of the police who are dying like flies, but at least shore them up and train them. But so what has happened, and what I found so compelling about this, is that the United States and Canada have basically shown no interest in leading the force. What they're saying is that they would do things like sanctions and other kinds of punishments against the gang leaders in Haiti. But that, would not be the same as having a stabilization force come in. But they have no intention of support. And I found that, yes, I know those countries, particularly the United States, have had some very bad experiences. You think of Somalia and Black Hawk Down, you think of Haiti and some of the things that have happened to their troops. But still, to say nothing and to say that they're not going to help, it's indeed a tragic situation, I think.
Well, Eni, especially to say nothing when they know all the guns over there came from the United States. That's one of the problems, is all the guns. They're taking all the guns over there.
Exactly. And this is Haiti. Mexico also suffers from that. And it seems that nobody, and in at least the Biden administration, while they're sympathetic and empathetic, are not really willing to step in and say enough is enough.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I know Mexico's suing the U.S. about those guns, and I saw somewhere that some of the Caribbean nations, and I'm not sure if Haiti's one of them, are also thinking about joining that lawsuit. Let's hope they do, because somebody has to make the gun people accountable. Obviously, it's not going to be the U.S.
Yeah. No, it's really a shame.
Yeah, it really is. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Inyang Ebong-Harstrup, with your international report, bringing you up to date on what's going around the world and bringing you up to date each week. Thank you, Eni.
Thank you, Carol.
Stay with us. Welcome to your financial news, folks. And of course, we're trying to always follow the money. So let's see what's going on out there. A group of bipartisan attorneys general from 23 states is calling on Medicare to cover Alzheimer's treatments without restrictions, folks. Medicare severely restricts access to a promising new antibody treatment. It's called Leqembi, which costs about $26,000 per year. You need twice monthly infusions. They've shown promise in slowing the progression of early Alzheimer's to more advanced stages of the mind-wasting disease. Now, Medicare's decision to restrict coverage means only wealthy seniors can afford to pay the $26,000 per year out of pocket. Unlike Medicare, the Veterans Health Administration, however, has agreed to cover Leqembi for veterans ages 65 and older who meet certain eligibility criteria. All right, also today, U.S. regulators seized and sold First Republic Bank. You've been hearing about that, putting it now in the hands of J.P. Chase. It is the largest bank failure since 2008. J.P. Morgan is the nation's largest bank. Now, it all means that J.P. Morgan is going to assume $173 billion in assets, $30 billion in securities, and all of First Republic's $92 billion in deposits. We should tell you that the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, well, it's going to share losses on certain residential and commercial loans. The fall of the $229 billion First Republic follows the fall of Silicon Valley Bank and the fall of Signature Bank. The FDIC, well, it estimates the First Republic failure is going to cost about $13 billion. First Republic's 84 branches will open as J.P. Morgan Chase offices all will open this week. That's your financial story. Thank you so much for staying with us. Be right back with more.
I'm just sick and tired of us not spending time together lately.
I know, baby. I know. I'm sorry I ain't been spending time with you. I just been working on this big deal. It's gonna bring a lot more money to the household for it.
What you doing here, boss?
Yeah, just checking to see if you still got it.
You take this work. You partner. I don't want it back.
I've seen the movies, man. I know how this goes.
You see the movie, huh? Did you see Goodfellas? New Jack City?
Everything I do is for you. Like, I just need a little bit more time, man. Fine bullshit. Like I said, he's gonna call any second.
Okay, let me ask you this. Why don't you take a look at this video? Guess what? It's starring you.
We are back with Dr. K because we always close the show, as you know, with your health in mind. Welcome, Dr. K.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Boy, I've got a very relevant topic today, and it's nitric oxide, not to be confused with nitrous oxide, an anesthetic, or the nitrates, which are the carcinogens that are found in processed foods. But we have nitric oxide all over our bodies. It is incredibly important. It's good for dilating blood vessels. It regulates the insulin in our body. It's an anti-inflammatory agent because it is a free radical, also known as an antioxidant. So it helps to clear dead cells out of the system and therefore is very much involved in anti-aging. So, of course, they have somehow gotten nitric oxide into the supplement aisle, and I don't know how that's possible. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's very important in training for some of these really high-level athletic sports is maximizing the nitric oxide, because you maximize the dilation of the blood vessels and therefore, more blood, whatever, faster running, things like that. So nitrous oxide, however, is very, very prevalent in our diet. And the way that we bring it in is in our diet, not in the supplement aisle. It is found in green leafy vegetables like spinach, kale. It's found in the berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. It's found in nuts. It's found in seeds. And so where is it not found? Animals, dairy, meat, middle aisle. So once again, we see the importance in anti-aging in our overall health of eating the whole foods, plant-based diet, and really believing that we're giving our bodies everything that we need. And also when we eat that kind of diet, really exploring everything the produce aisle has to offer, all the colors, all the flavors, and staying out of that middle aisle as well as the dairy aisle.
Yeah. Dr. K, that's so interesting because we don't even hear that nitrous, nitric. Is it nitric? You don't even hear about that from your doctor, or at least I never heard about it from my doctor. So that's why you're hearing about it here. We got you covered, especially when it comes to people who are from the African diaspora. As you know, Dr. K is always telling you we are different. Our body is different. So you have to pay attention to yourself differently. That's why Dr. K is with you every week. Thank you so much, Dr. K.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we'll see you next week from all of us here at Impact News. Excuse me, I'm having a tongue twister today. From all of us here at Impact News, we wish you a wonderful week and we'll see you next week.